Just a brief explanation.
So Japan Day is basically celebrating the cultures. We have a lot of Japanese exchange students here, so we just wanted to make them feel welcome here, even though it's towards the end of the semester. But we just wanted to work together with them, and so they have really good memories of America while they're here. And also to share the Japanese culture to the Pacific students.
Why do you think it's so important to share the culture here?
Well, because we have a lot of actually Japanese students here, not only from Japan, but there's a lot from Hawaii, and there's some here in Oregon. And it's really good for them to be connected with their own culture if they're not already at home. But it's a culture away from home.
How much work did you guys put into this?
There was a lot of work. We had each practice was 2 hours per week, even taiko. And planning, it took weeks. We started planning this in February and such, so to make it the success that it was.
What got you interested in putting this show, putting this event up?
Well, I saw Luau 2 weeks ago, and I really felt like they were able to tell the Hawaiian culture very well to everyone who wasn't even Hawaiian, because I'm from California, so I was able to get the little taste of Hawaii. So I think I just want to do that the same thing for Japan.
What was your favorite dance?
My favorite dance is a modern dance because I was the head of it, and those are two of my favorite songs, and I really wanted to make people feel happy when they heard it.
Can you tell us about all the different activities and booths and tables that was here at Japan Day?
Of course. So the activities we had three primary activities. We had the kendama and the other Japanese games over there, just give people a taste of what the young culture's like, what's popular over there. It's a lot of smartphones and other things, but there's still some things that make it specifically Japan. We wanted to give people the opportunity to experience that. Next to it, you had origami, kind of ubiquitous at this point. We had things as simple as cranes and frogs, and some of the more skillful people were able to make some really exciting stuff with origami. And we just wanted to be able to show people how to do that and give them a little trinket to take home when they left here. The food is good, but you want a little bit of a lasting memory, right? And then over here on the other side, we have calligraphy. So this is where people will learn to draw some of the traditional Japanese kanji, which is one of the writing styles in Japanese. And that's how they communicate, and it's its own form of art. There's word art in English, but these characters are there's a whole lot more complexity to them. So there's a whole art dedicated just to drawing the characters and drawing them beautifully and conveying the meaning of the word through how it is drawn as well. So those are the activities that we had for people to do.
I guess you can talk about the dances now too.
The dances are a lot of what's popular nowadays. It's a really distillation of Japanese culture, from the very modern things to the very traditional. We started off with taiko, which, as I said during the program, was used to motivate Japanese soldiers back in the day. And that was beating on the drums with coordinated, all sorts of different drums and metallic things like that. And it's its own dance as much as it is music making. Right. Then we followed that up with K-pop, which is a bit of an odd inclusion because it's a Japan Day, but K-pop, Korean pop music is really, really popular in Japan, so we would be not giving a full exposure of what modern Japanese culture is without including K-pop. It's in the nightclubs, it's on TV, it's everywhere. The song was Sleep Talking by Newest, the band Newest. And then after that, we had Soranbushi, which is a more traditional Japanese dance. It was inspired by the fishermen up in the northern island of Hokkaido, and all the actions that they did represented the different tasks that a fisherman would do throughout their daily lives. And that is popular to the point, it's popular, but also it's the most ubiquitous traditional dance because it's taught in all of the schools in Japan, so that's a core part of their curriculum as much as the electric slide is for Americans, And finishing up the day for the dances, we had two different J-pop songs. We had one by a boy band and one by a girl group. Respectively, it was Choo Choo Train by Exile and Koisuru Fortune Cookie by AKB48, one of the most popular girl groups in Japan. And so we felt that all those dances kind of capitulated the beating heart of Japanese culture.
Why do you think it's so important to spread Japanese culture?
Spread Japanese culture? Part of it is location. We're on the West Coast. Japan, it may not be close, but it is significantly closer to us and far more prevalent. You'll see a lot more Japanese and just Asian hubs of culture. Uwajimaya, just down in Beaverton, is a really good example of that. And it's important because to share this culture because it's something offered at Pacific. It's a language, right? And an intrinsic part of language is the culture that it comes from, the culture that it inspires, right? So a lot of the students here, they get an opportunity to see what it's like to really live the Japanese culture without just going to class, looking at a textbook and seeing what that's all about. And the average person, we had a lot of community members come out today, and I was very thankful for that. And that was very important because they get a chance to experience a lot of the mainstream American culture and maybe some other bits and pieces of culture, but we wanted to provide the most authentic snippet of culture that we could for people, just so they can maybe be inspired. Maybe somebody will see the taiko performances today and they'll inspire them to go do taiko, or do something as simple as make a Japanese dish. So we just wanted to share the culture so there was that ease of information and just make it living and breathing. I'd like to thank everybody who came out here. It's too many to list everybody, but I'll hit the main points. Ujimaya and Beaverton for all the food and things they provided. The Japan Club officers for coordinating all the things, all the dances, teaching them. The Japan Club members for helping out with being in the dances and putting up with all of the crazy running around setting up. The World Languages Department for giving us the funds and the ability to do this thing. And Pacific University for being flexible and allowing students to put on something of this caliber.